Guys, what is going on? Blossom's back. Welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now, the last time I recorded a video till now, we had that really big endurance event, which I went all in for, and it paid off. I really wanted to win that event because of literal bragging rights, nothing else. Look, I'll be completely honest with you, the prizes for the endurance event is not as good as a regular tri-series, and I spent way more in the endurance event than I usually spend in a tri-series. Think about it this way, right? In a tri-series, you have the potential of winning a prize car of, over 100 RQ or close to 100 RQ. But from the endurance event, the most that you can win is like 4 legends, and the highest legend that you can get is number 1, a non-prize, and number 2, a 92.95, right? But I spent way more material and way more fuse material to get first place in this. Why? Because I have a massive ego and I'm not afraid to deny it. I just wanted to win this because I knew that this event was harder than a regular tri-series. There are less people per 1,000 players that will end first place for this endurance challenge than, people per 1,000 players that will win a tri-series prize car. So I just really wanted to be in that batch of players. So anyway, what did I use? I'll go through it really quickly. I'll show you the Sapphire pack in another video because today's video is going to be deducing something else, a question that I've wanted to ask since like the dawn of time, when I saw, at least the dawn of since I've played Top Drive. So I'll just show you briefly what I used. I was using the Lambo, right, the Murcielago. Now, I do believe that in order to tell you how hard my bracket was, it will be dictated by how many upgrades the Murcielago has. So it only has 1 upgrade into it. So I don't think I have the hardest bracket in the world, because I only have 1 handling in this. So I'm so happy I did not need to upgrade this more than what I already did. But I did not have an easy bracket. In terms of big names that I was fighting for that tier 1 spot, it was between me, some guy called Sven, and Jim R. So if you find in the NA brackets, you might know Jim R is a pretty big guy to fight. Then there was the Porsche, right? So I had the Porsche. This one needed more upgrades, so that's even more upgrades. So think about the Lambo. Lambo was 3 epics, and then I spent 9 more epics in here. So 1 in weight, maxed out the handling, so 936 was done. And then there was the Flux, right? So we used the Flux, and then in order to save a little bit of RQ, I ended up using the Suzuki C2. And then the last one was the Pagani, the Huayra Roadster. So this one fully upgraded, so that's 15 epics. So 15 plus 9 is 24 plus 3, so I spent 27 epics for this. Not 27, I spent 21 epics and 2 legends, because I did 2 legend fuses. Got rid of a Lambo and a Porsche. I know I don't like getting rid of Porsches, but I don't think I need to use a 718 GT4 anytime soon. So anyway, that's fully upgraded, and as you can see, it's drag spec. Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't the hardest thing in the world, because I think if I had the hardest bracket, I would have had to like probably max out the Murcielago, but definitely wasn't easy as well, because it made me do something like this. Anyway, I'm so happy I ended first though, because I don't think, if I did not end first place, this video that I'm making today would not exist. Because I got myself the perfect position in the 7th anniversary Gauntlet token to make this video. So, Top Drives. How many active players are actually playing Top Drives? If you go into the App Store right now, they'll tell you is how many times a game has been downloaded, and they'll be like, oh my god, Top Drives has been downloaded over 10 million times. That doesn't mean that there are 10 million players. That means there are 10 million downloads. I can delete the game, download it again, and do it 100 times, and that's basically 100 times added onto that counter, right? So I'm really happy I ended here, because I'm only 1 challenge level away from getting 10,000, but this puts me in a place where I can see where the break-off is, and this is really interesting because I'm going to be able to tell you guys an estimate how many active players actually play Top Drives. So let me know down in the comments below, how many active players do you think is playing Top Drives today, right now, this weekend, okay? So let's get into it. So I want to tell you this, I got interested, this video idea was inspired to me by another YouTube channel that I watch a lot. His name is Zesty Jesus, and he makes content around Team Fortress 2, which is the first video game that I ever played, and it will always be my favorite video game of all time, because I'm a very sentimental guy, and this is the first video game I fell in love with. So, yeah, Team Fortress 2 has a massive problem with bots. So if you look at the active player count on Steam for this game, Steam will tell you that there are between 100,000 to 200,000 active players in Team Fortress 2, which means like, oh wow, the game is thriving. A lot of people are playing it. But he did a really big, like as you can see, it's a 1-hour video with a huge analysis, thank you Siri, huge analysis on how many players were actually playing TF2. Because the majority of the active accounts that were in the game were bots, because Steam counts as long as an account is in game. So he ended up, saying that out of the 200,000 peak that Team Fortress 2 had as active players, the real number was about 21,000 to 27,000 players. Massive difference. So I want to bring the same concept into Top Drives. You go into Top Drives, you go to the Android store, you go to the App Store, they tell you 10 million downloads. Sure. They want the people to think that there are 10 million people playing the game. Look, man, if you play Top Drives, you know that there ain't no way that there's even close to a million. There's not even close to 100,000 people playing this game right now, okay? So Top Drives, 10 million downloads is what it tells you. But because of where I finished, we can kind of deduce how many active players are actually playing. So here's the thing. Each 10,000 score represents a first place. And each first place represents a bracket, because you can only get first place once in every single bracket. You see what I mean? So, only one person in one bracket can get, first place once. Each 10,000 score means that it's a player that definitely finished tier 1 and also finished a challenge. So out of 172 players in my bracket, as you can see, 171 players are capable of getting 10,000, right? That upper echelon, that highest bracket, that highest tier. So it's very simple though, because then all you need to do is, okay, there are 10,000 tier 1 finishes, just multiply that by the size of each bracket, which is 128 players, give or take. Some brackets may not have even filled up, some brackets might have overfilled. My bracket overfilled. It did not go up to 128. I think it went up to about 129, and I also played this event on my Gawam's account, which is an Asian server bracket, and that went up to 133, I think. But anyway, 171 brackets multiplied by 128 players equals 21,888 active players. Now, active players, and also 21,000 is not the total count, because there are alt accounts like Gawam's, so obviously like Gawam's and I just counts as one player, even though it's two separate accounts. And also there's a non-zero amount of players that finished tier 1 with an unfinished challenge record, like myself. So it's not fair to just calculate by everyone that has 10,000 points, because there are players like Jake and Bruno and myself, and that I'm not even gonna try and pronounce the name below, and Julian, where we definitely finished tier 1, but we haven't finished a challenge, and that's why we don't have 10,000 points yet. So there's still more brackets unaccounted for right now. So in order to tell how many tier 1 finishes there were in total, we need to see how many players have more than 8,750 points. Why 8,750? Because you get 7,000 points from the challenge, and you get 1,750 points from the tier 2 prize. That gives you a total of 8,750. So, players like Sarkozy, for example, he finished the challenge, and he got a tier 2. The only reason why he doesn't have a 10,000 point range is because he didn't finish tier 1. He ended second or third or whatever tier 2 was, right? So we need to find any player that has more than 8,750 points, because that means they definitely finished 1. Any player with more than 8,750 points definitely finished tier 1. So I want to talk to this guy. I know him. He's on Discord, the Montorio guy. Dude's got 8,760 points, which means that he actually finished tier 1, but there's a large chunk of the challenge that he failed to complete. Which is crazy, because that shows how much of an impact that tier 1 finish in the event was. Because look at Sarkozy here. This dude definitely finished the entire challenge, but because he finished tier 2, he's now ranked below the guy that got tier 1 in the challenge, but like he has so many empty puzzle pieces in his challenge. It's crazy, actually. So we need to find out how many players ended above 8,760, and we know the count, 205. 205 players finished tier 1. So around 205 players finished tier 1. You multiply that by 128, per bracket, and give or take, that's about 26,240. Again, some brackets went over 128, some brackets went under 128, so it's just an estimate, but if all brackets filled up and stayed that way, then there are 26,240 players. Once again, there's a non-zero amount of players that finished tier 1 but scored less than 5,750 points in the challenge, and unfortunately I don't know the number to that, because all I can see is all the way down to 206. Like, this is probably the last person that I can see. As you can see, I'm already scrolled all the way down. Actually, we can double check that. So if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I can see, oh, okay, I can go more than that. 223. So I can go down to 223. I can't see anyone else that scored below that, because there is a chance that there is a player out there that might have finished tier 1, but didn't do a single challenge level, right? So that person that finished tier 1 might have 3,000 points, and that's it. from a tier 1 finish and he did not touch the challenge. There is a possibility of that. I mean, I know players like Nosam, for example. He hates challenges and he can't be bothered, but he will fight in an event. So there are, again, it's probably a very small amount, but that's why I'm saying there's a non-zero amount of players that may have finished tier 1 but scored less than 5,750 points, and I can't see that. So 26,240 is an estimate. There might be other tier 1 finishes out there. We all know that EU brackets are a joke. There's probably some guy out there that probably finished tier 1 with like ultra rares and epics, but couldn't do a single level in the challenge, right? And he wouldn't show up. He wouldn't be represented in my leaderboard over here. No, here's a little bonus for you as well. A little bonus. I'm in the NA brackets, right? And the way that events end now in top drives is the EU ends first, then NA ends next, and then Asia ends last. So I could actually see how many Asian players are actually playing top drives as well. So before the Asia region ended, there were only 141 players that had, 10,000 points. Then after the Asian region ended, which was, when I took this screenshot about an hour and a half ago, 171 players had, 10,000 points, which means that since Asia ended, you can say, give or take, there were about 30 brackets. There's a chance where an EU bracket or an NA bracket, the player just didn't, log into the game after the event for like a day, and then he logged in like later on, and then that counted as a finish in there as well. So again, it's an estimate, but there are about 30 Asian brackets. Also, we need to count about, there are probably Asian players that, got tier 1 but didn't finish the challenge that would end, kind of around my bracket as well. I mean, my range, right? Of like 9,000 odd points, but I just couldn't be bothered to count that. Again, it's just an estimate that there are about 30 Asian brackets that finished, right? So at least 3,840 active players in the Asia region, which is actually very small because the total count is about 26,240. This is a huge estimate. I'm gonna say somewhere around 26,240 to 30,000 players, because obviously there were some players that we couldn't take account for. Like I said, there are players out there, not a big amount, but there are players out there that might have finished, first place in the bracket, but they didn't do the challenge, right? And I know that's just one player, but that also means that if you finish first place in that bracket, that could have been 128 players unaccounted for. Every bracket that is unaccounted for is 128 players. So a very rough estimate is that there is at least 26,240 active players in top drives to around 30,000, right? Because within that bunch of 26,240, there are some alt accounts in there, right? And this number, I've counted my Golems account too. So yeah, we've gone from 10 million downloads to about 26,000 and 30,000 players. Is that a lot? Is that a little? I don't know. I tried to compare this to other mobile games like Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, some other big, titles out there. Every website that tells you the active player count for any mobile game, they don't actually know the numbers. Because I went to a website and they told you that this is not factual. This is just an estimate based off math or something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to have a brief overview, I logged on to a website and it told me that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes had about 141,000 active players, but they said that that number was not factual. So I don't know how accurate that number even is. But one thing I can say is that there are more active players in top drives than in Team Fortress 2, because Team Fortress 2 is about 21,000 to 27,000, about 27,000 at the peak, 21,000 at the bottom. I would argue that 26,000 is the peak for top drives, because this weekend was a really big event. Maybe more players want to play in that, but yeah, about 26,000, 30,000 players, which honestly I'm kind of happy about that, because I have like 12,000 subscribers, which means that I've almost 50%. Or about 50% of the player base has subscribed to me. Again, that's just not a true fact, because there are people that are subscribed to me that are probably dead, and also have just quit the game in general, but they stayed subscribed. But yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, I want to see how far I move up the rank. So I'm currently on what's my position? I'm 174, right? So let's finish it off. I was only staying in that position at this point just so I could create this video. So if we're going into challenges right here, we're going to end off of getting the 10,000 points. This event's in 2 days and 6 hours. I'm not going to get my prizes yet just in case if the Lamborghini event decides to drop. Then I'm gonna keep those packs. So I'm probably gonna open those packs right at the end. But anyway, let's wrap things up. So I need 3 legends from this that I upgraded. I also made a video about this. I stuck to my word. I said that I was gonna upgrade 2 legends that I narrowed down to. It ended up being the Lambo Murcielago as well as the Evora. I went with those 2. Yeah, I went and upgraded in the weight. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't go handling actually. But anyway, yeah, that's done. And then I just need to put in 2 more. Again, the 27 or the 21 epics that I spent in the endurance event, and the 2 legends that I spent in the endurance event, doesn't even factor in the legends that I had to spend to upgrade the cars in this video, which is crazy. Anyway, this level actually looks kind of tough. I mean, as in like, I couldn't put my Lamborghini Murcielago wherever I wanted. I think that should be fine though. Yeah, 252 to 0. That gives me the last 80 points. We're done and dusted, and at any time I want within the next 2 days and 6 hours, I can redeem every single legendary pack, which is really what I wanted to be. I just wanted to be in that, you know, elite club of players that was capable of opening every single one. I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm gonna see if a new update drops or not. I want to see what changes. Where am I now? I am. Hey, 93. Okay, guys. So, anybody can see me. Anyone can see me. There you go. If you want to find Blossom in your 7th anniversary gauntlet token, because this shows the top 100, I believe. If you go all the way down to 93, you will see my name. There you go. Yep, 101. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Love that. Love that. Okay. Well, who else is in here? Who else do I know? Alright, in the top 100. I've seen Michael B. I've seen Shock 1, that I always say Chacon. I've seen 00001, Eric, Lots of Drives. Who else? Oh, he's at 10,000 now. Okay, he's gone up too. Because I think he was in a previous screenshot that I had in that presentation. I think he was like below 10,000. I think. So Bruce Lee up in here. I don't know Bruce Lee though. It's Cruisin'. Yep, we know Cruisin'. Jesse, Tiago, 10,000 too. Congratulations. Iron Frodo is up there. What are the names? Uncle's up there. Mousetrap. Who else? There are a few names that I do know, but they're not in American brackets. There's Birdie, right? He's in EU. There's Brench, right? We shout out to those guys as well. Probably watching the video right now. We got Tim. Here goes Sierra. Hey, at least 3 patrons in there. That's pretty cool. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Just first dude is just a consulting firm. Okay. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, let me know in the comments below. Is that more players than you expected? Is that less players than you expected? I don't know, man. I think 26,000 to 30,000 is a, by my knowledge, which is not much, I think it's a pretty healthy poll. I'm okay with that. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly, got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly, got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my bar.